Dave Nassi here at Next Level Guitar, and today what we're doing is a fun inspired by lesson today. And what's great about this is we're going to talk about composition and how we can take some of the sounds that we hear from these songs and just put them into your life, use them to write some tunes. We're going to focus on some key elements. We're going to talk about the beat, right? That's a really big part of it, how to play with the drum beat. We're going to talk about how to know what chords we have accessible to us. And everything that we were doing in that was in the key of G or E minor. So let's bust that out and let's talk about that really quickly, please. So the G major scale that I like to use and refer to for my knowledge looks just like this. Carrying on. So in this style of music, we're kind of talking about the thrash metal approach, right? Other elements of it will be in there for sure, but you know, you can play power chords for each one of those notes in the scale. Doing this way. We want to talk about how we can further that a little bit. More importantly, knowing the chord value or its harmonic value within the scale. The first note of every scale is major. The second one is minor. The third one is minor. Now, some of you out there that don't know minor chords, we'll talk about that though. 4 is major. 5 is major. 6 is minor, relative minor, really important. And F sharp, in this case, or our 7th, is diminished. In thrash metal, we do so many things with just power chords. And that's really the first thing that we want to talk about, making sure that we expand on it, right? Now, rhythmically, because we want to talk about beat and rhythm, we're going to come across a couple of different ways to play these things. And, you know, out of all the sweeps and all the things I've done in my life, straight down picking for a long period of time is the toughest thing to do. So let me turn this way. I mean, in like a super rapid tempo. And if you have a Floyd Rose guitar or a guitar with a floating tremolo, you don't want to, unless that's the desired effect. So in this case, I'm focusing on a lot of these low 3 strings. Sometimes I may plane across both. Sometimes I'll just focus on the root note, and that's really important to think about. And what I'll do a lot of times is I'll throw up drums. I'm going to put up a drum beat, a fast drum beat in this case. Guys, work. Now with this, any of those chords will work. Sliding is a really good way to make a riff. I'm guessing what chords I'm going to play. And at first you might say, well, gosh, that tempo and that pace is kind of rapid. How am I going to keep up with that? Well, that's an element of keeping that goal in your mind that we might have to practice a little bit, right? Just to keep that going. And that's a lot of straight downstroking kind of strumming. And that's a really good popular beat that we'll hear all the time. Galloping or 16th note triplets. Now this one, turn this way. When I write anything that might have this rhythm, I always start with a downstroke. When I do this, I go down, down, focusing just on that low string. And that might be something that you would want to kick up your beat and practice too. And play a random chord. Go back to that E, it always sounds good. Try the down with one in there. So I'm very loosely just coming up with the fun that I can have thinking of rhythm. And I can use the scales as a way to create individual note riffs as well. So let's think of that, for example. And I'm going to use this E. Right? And I'm using the G major scale. Now, all your scale shapes, diatonic scale shapes, go to the website if you don't know them. In this particular case, we're going to use them in this coming up with our riffs, because I need to know my way around the fretboard, so that way I can combine these things together and put all these notes together in harmony and family. And the next scale shape that I might refer to is an A Dorian shape, but it looks like this really quickly. I'm just going to put it down for you so you have it. I'm starting on the 5th fret on the 6th string, and the scale goes just like this. A Dorian, G major, it's all the same. Guitar is a glorified form of Tetris, people. That's all we're doing. We're going up the guitar, combining these shapes. Quick rundown of what a mode is. I'll just say this. It's a different starting point in a scale. If I start from here, technically that's the same notes as this. Right? So let's play that. So as you learn your scales, you hear them and you see them to be so. So it's just Tetris. It's combining a little bit of that dude, a little bit of that one, and as I become more familiar with them, I can go up the guitar. So in writing songs this way, and I gotta say, that is reason number 172 for learning your scale shapes. All you metal guys out there, I know a bunch of guys that write great songs, but they're unfamiliar with those shapes. Those shapes provide you with everything. And from there, I can suddenly maybe take some of these rhythms and those scales. Now that rhythm, that's a fun way to get started, and I like that. And I'm just guessing. Let's look at that riff. When I wrote that, I was thinking of thrash classics, just like you would think about of any of these other bands that we're talking about. And I was thinking, I like that rhythm. So let's just look at what this riff is. That's how I'm starting. And by playing that low string and getting those scale notes in there, that's just really classic sound to me. It's almost bluesy in a context. And I took that and I said, well, I need a tail at that. I need a tail at the end of that riff. A lot of times in writing metal riffs, you have like the core riff, and at the end of it, it changes every time, and they call that a tail. And our tail this time is going to be this. Now that sounds kind of weird slow, but it goes like this. And I just thought of the scale, and I said, well, how cool would it look if my hands went this direction? That's pretty much it. I'm going this way. And that's my tail for my riff.